Hi, I'm Allison Rivera, and for my video review of a children's nonfiction book, I chose Unbelievables by Douglas Florian. That's this book right here. A little bit about the author would be that Douglas Florian is a family man that lives in Long Island with his family. He has a studio in New York City. That studio is where he goes to create most of his stories and illustrations for children's books. I chose this book because I was interested in it because it contains poetry and illustrations, and those illustrations are from the same author. So Douglas Florian created this book all on his own, and I thought that was interesting because that requires so much more work to not only create the story, but to create the illustrations that go with that story. This book is not an award-winning book, but it makes up for not being an award-winning book by being so unique. This book contains information about bees through poems. So each page has a different small poem, and then at the bottom of it, it has information about bees. So, for example, the beginning will give a short poem about what a bee's body is like, but at the end of it, it will describe in great detail what that body is and the breakdown of it. And also, a lot of the pages within this book contain diagrams of various things, like a diagram of what a hive looks like or what the bee's body looks like close up. An interesting fact that caught my attention within this book is that it said in 2006 there was a major decline in honeybees in their colonies, and no one can figure out why this happened or what exactly caused it. Some scientists believe that the decline in honeybees is from mites attacking or from viruses or fungus overtaking beehives. So that really caught my attention. 7 interesting things that I learned about this topic from this book would be that honeybees have 3 segments to their body. That is the head, thorax, and abdomen. A second fact would be that when a queen bee is mating, she can lay up to 2,000 eggs. A third fact would be that eventually, if a queen bee was to mate and lay 2,000 eggs a day, she would have a colony of 80,000 bees. A fourth fact would be that a queen bee is treated like royalty. She is protected at all costs, and she is given the best of the best. A fifth fact would pertain to the queen bee being the only one. She's the only queen bee, and she runs the whole show of the hive. A fifth fact would be that honeybees have 3 small eyes in the center of their forehead and 2 main eyes. And the main eyes help to figure out what objects are in front of them, but their small eyes help to see those objects more clearly. So together they have a total of 5 eyes on their head. A sixth fact would be that honeybees tend to create their hives within tree trunks. And the seventh fact would be that honeybee hives usually last up to 2 to 3 years. And after those 2 or 3 years, they start to decline and they'll go create a hive somewhere else. This book greatly enhanced my understanding of this topic. Prior to reading this book, I knew that honeybees were declining, and I knew small facts about them, but I didn't realize to what extent honeybees go to work together and to help their hive be successful and to thrive on a daily basis. Um, I would also say that I learned a lot through what it takes to create to create that hive. It takes not just the queen bee, but it takes um, 80,000 bees to help that hive work together and produce the honey that it needs. When I originally picked up this book, I was told that it was for ages um, 5 to 10, and I would say that that's correct. I went to the local library nearby, and I asked the librarian, and that's the information that she gave me on this book. I agree with that because I feel that this book is very informative, so it can be directed towards a 10-year-old child, or it can pertain to a younger child because of the illustrations that are in it, and the poetry that it contains. So the poems were very easy to read, but the information at the bottom of the page after the poem was very detailed and complex. So I thought that this book could be directed to children that are actually older than 10, because there was a lot of facts that were very detailed and complicated to an extent. I would absolutely recommend this book because I feel that this book draws the reader in and engages the reader, and the style to it may be attractive to a kid that's just learning to read and be involved with books. I also felt that the accuracy and content of the book was correct. It pertained to the subject and stayed on point, as well as gave facts throughout the whole book. The style was creative and definitely reflected Douglas Florian's work and his creativity, and I felt he also showed that through the illustrations and format that he set this book up with. The illustrations are very beautiful, and they're almost like a painting, paint-like. You look at it and there isn't definite lines throughout it, but more of strokes and abstract images. So I thought that all of that together created a very wonderful book that I would absolutely recommend. Thank you.